Abandoned by 6 children, this lady's life-changing fate was revealed by an unexpected millionaire. Ruth stood by the window of her small, cozy diner, gazing out at the empty streets of Maplewood. Her heart was heavy. She thought of her children, now scattered across the country, living lives that didn't leave room for her. Each milestone, a graduation, a wedding, happened without her. Each birthday sounded quieter without their cheer. It stung. Her hands trembled, not from age but from longing, as she wiped down the counter. In the bustling diner, filled with the aroma of pancakes and coffee, while the regulars shared laughter, she wore a smile like armor, her heart a fortress of solitude. One Tuesday, something unexpected happened. A man strode into her diner, tall and a bit awkward, with hair that looked like it hadn't met a comb in days. Ruth recognized him as Thomas, a reclusive millionaire whose reputation was an enigma. She served him with the same warmth she offered everyone, but he looked at her with a different spark in his eyes, one that recognized a kindred spirit. Over cups of steaming coffee, they shared stories, and Ruth found herself laughing, genuinely laughing, for the first time in ages. It felt good, almost like old times when her house was filled with the sounds of her children. "Why do you always smile, Ruth?" Thomas asked one day as he munched on her famous blueberry pancakes. It was an innocent question, but it echoed with the weight of deeper truths. She shrugged, her heart tightening. "What else is there to do?" she replied softly, her voice barely a whisper, but filled with unspoken pain. It was in those moments that something shifted in Thomas. He saw the yearning behind her eyes, the sacrifices she had made for her children, how her love stretched thin across miles of neglect. He couldn't just let it sit there. So, with determination, he began to devise a plan, a community event to shine a light on Ruth. Maybe it would weave the fabric of a connection that had frayed endlessly over the years. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With the event date on the horizon, flyers circulating around town, and her heart pounding with a cocktail of excitement and dread, Ruth prepared. She dusted off her best dress, brushing its fabric as if coaxing memories of better days, the kind where laughter didn't feel like a distant echo. Her children, in the meantime, caught snippets of their mother's story on social media, each post a reminder of a love they took for granted. As the night approached, the warmth of the little park glowed with fairy lights, a beacon of hope against the chill of the fall air. She stood there, surrounded by neighbors who adored her, laughter spilling around her like a warm blanket. But her heart had another rhythm. Would her children show? Would the door to their past open once more? Or would it remain locked, that chapter ending without closure? Just as uncertainty weighed heavy in her chest, headlights cut through the dusk, and familiar faces emerged. Would Ruth find the courage to reach out, to welcome them back into her life? Or would they be lost to the echoes of yesterday? Ruth's heart raced as her eyes locked onto the figures stepping out of the car. Each shadow felt like a ghost from her past, the tight-knit bonds that had frayed, the laughter that had faded into silence. She squinted through the glow of the fairy lights, searching for familiar faces among the crowd. Her breath caught when she spotted Laura, her eldest daughter, instinctively guiding her younger siblings as they wandered toward the gathering. "Mom!" Laura called, a hesitant smile breaking through her nervousness. The word hit Ruth like a wave, pulling her from the stillness and into the rush of emotion. She reached out, almost as if hoping the distance between them would close before the moment passed. Her heart thudded loudly, drowning out the surrounding laughter and chatter. The space between them felt vast, as if all the years of absence stood in her way. each moment a brick in the wall that had grown between them. "Is that really you?" Ruth whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. Laura's bright smile faltered, but she rushed forward, embracing her mother tightly. The warmth seeped into Ruth's bones, melting the icy feeling of betrayal and neglect. "I missed you, Mom. We all did," Laura whispered into her shoulder. And for that moment, Ruth felt that familiar rush of love enveloping her, almost lifting her off her feet. As the others joined the embrace, Ruth squeezed them close, cradling the memories she thought were forever lost. Samuel, the youngest, buried his head against her waist, as if seeking solace in the safety of her presence. The heaviness that had settled in her chest began to dissolve. The air buzzed with activity. Families gathered, music flowed through the trees, and the scent of Ruth's famous food thrilled the skies. This was her world, and today she was ready to share it, not just with them, but with everyone who had cared. Ruth took a deep breath, feeling Thomas's presence nearby, his support palpable amidst her family's reunion. He caught her eye and nodded, his own warmth reassuring. She had to say something, not just for her children, but for herself. Raising her voice over the music, she gathered those present. "Thank you all for coming to honor me, and to celebrate the bonds that sometimes fade," she started, needing the next words to carry the weight of her journey. "But today isn't just about me. It's about us, family and connection. I hope we can rebuild what was lost." Laughter erupted at memories shared, but the moment felt deeper than joy. Ruth could see doubt flickering in her children's eyes. They were ready to forgive, but the wounds still lingered. Laura stepped forward, breaking the quiet tension. "We're here now, Mom, and we want to understand. Please tell us everything." Her voice was soft, but carried a fierceness that made Ruth's heart swell. The past would not be easy to unpack, and the weight of the unspoken left them vulnerable. It was a chance she hadn't thought she'd get. They sat together on a blanket, the stars starting to twinkle above them, and Ruth took a moment, feeling the warmth of her children surrounding her like a protective cocoon. No matter what had happened before, they were here now, and it was time for stories, laughter, and maybe even healing. But as the night stretched onward, a sudden commotion caught her attention. A figure was standing apart from the gathering, shadowed and still, watching with intense eyes. Ruth felt a twinge of anxiety in her gut. Who were they? Why were they here? Just as she tried to focus her thoughts, an unexpected voice called out from the shadows, shattering the night's fragile peace. "Ruth, we need to talk." Her heart plummeted. Who was this new face, and why did it feel like another storm on the horizon? Ruth turned slowly, her heart thudding louder with each echo of that voice. The world around her faded, the laughter of her children dimmed, the twinkling lights merged into a blur. All that remained was the mysterious figure and the weight of those words that hung in the air. The figure stepped closer, contrasting against the vibrant atmosphere of the reunion. As they emerged from the shadows, Ruth's breath caught in her throat. It was James, an old friend from the neighborhood. Not just a friend, really. He was the family's former lawyer. His piercing eyes held a demanding urgency. "James," Ruth's voice trembled slightly, disbelief mixing with curiosity. "What are you doing here?" He looked around, as if taking stock of the scene, before locking eyes with her again. "I'm here because you're in trouble, Ruth. Serious trouble." A chill ran down her spine. Her heart sank. "What do you mean?" "I can't explain it all now. We need to talk privately." He glanced at her children, who were still nestled together on the blanket, their eyes wide with questions. For a moment, panic gripped Ruth. She was finally reconnecting with her family after so long. She didn't want to ruin this moment, to let the clouds of her past rain down now. But James's earnest demeanor told her there was no avoiding. "Can you give me a minute?" she asked the kids, not sure how to frame the urgency in her heart. "Mom, what's going on?" Laura asked, worry drenching her voice. It's just a conversation I need to have," Ruth said, absorbing the worried glances from all her children. She didn't want to scare them, yet fear clawed around her throat. "Is it bad?" Samuel asked innocently, his eyes reflecting Ruth's own anxiety. "I don't know yet, honey, but I'll be right back," she assured them, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than sincerity. James nodded, leading her away from the cozy gathering. The brightness of the party dimmed behind her. The birds nestled in trees overhead fell silent in the charge of the words yet to come. "Please, James, just tell me what's going on," Ruth urged as they stepped away from the circle of twinkling lights. The air felt heavier, laden with unresolved chapters of her life. "Your past? It's come back. There's been a development concerning the estate," he said, his voice low and urgent. "You need to know that someone is claiming it. Customarily, it would go to your kids, but what?" Ruth felt her chest tighten. "You're scaring me." "Someone stepped forward. It could put everything you've built here at risk. You might lose the house, a home you fought to keep." Ruth's heart dropped. She turned, trying to process the sudden rush of dread swelling inside her. All those years of distance, struggles, and now, just as she felt she was stepping back into her family's light, the shadows were creeping in once more. "What do I do?" she said, her voice breaking under the weight of fear. Before James could respond, a commotion erupted from the crowd. Someone shouted her name, more frantic this time. Where the laughter had once danced in the air, a wave of concern surged. And before she could even react, one of her children ran toward her, panic in their eyes. "Mom, there's someone here who wants to talk to you. It's urgent." Ruth's stomach churned. Her life was tangled once again in confusion. Just when she thought she could focus on mending what was broken, the pieces were shifting under her feet. "What now?" she thought, feeling the looming uncertainty close in. The night was becoming a storm, and she stood in the eye of it, each breath steeped in a mix of dread and determination. Could she face whatever storm was coming? Would she find the strength to protect her family? The weight of possibility pressed down on her. As she turned back to the gathering, the tension in the air seemed to grow thick. She had to brace herself for whatever was headed her way, but the unknown was just waiting to knock her off balance again. Ruth's breath quickened as her child approached, panic etched into their features. "Mom, it's really important. You have to come." The urgency in Laura's voice cut through the haze of confusion. Ruth gestured to James, a silent plea for him to stay close. They were nearly back to the gathering when the noise escalated. Ruth pushed through the crowd, her heart pounding, fear wrapping around her chest. As the throngs of joyous faces parted, she caught sight of a woman standing at the edge, her expression fierce and determined. "Who is that?" Ruth wondered, brows knitting together. Something about the way this stranger held herself felt off, like she was a storm cloud ready to break. "Mom, it's her," Samuel pointed, wide-eyed. "She says she knows something." In that moment, Ruth felt as if the ground beneath her feet was trembling. The woman stepped forward, pressing her lips into a grim line, her piercing gaze locked onto Ruth. There was no escaping it. This was the confrontation she dreaded. "Ruth," the woman said, her tone commanding, "we need to talk. It's urgent." "What do you want?" Ruth replied, her voice steadier than she felt. She glanced back at her children, who had formed a protective circle around her, their worry radiating in the air. "I'm Sophie," the woman said, crossing her arms defiantly. "I'm here about the estate. What you don't understand is that it's not just about the property, it's about the truth. You deserve to know what really happened. There are things connected to your family that you don't even know exist." Ruth's mind swirled. How could this woman possibly know anything about her family? And why was she standing here, a gathering meant to celebrate her return, causing chaos? She felt the weight of both curiosity and alarm. "Enough games," Ruth breathed, clenching her fists at her sides. "What do you mean? Just tell me." "There was a foundation set up years ago," Sophie pressed on, "a trust that your father secretly started before he passed. You've inherited more than you think, and someone is hiding that from you. This, right now, is just the beginning." Ruth's knees felt weak. The possibility of more, a hidden legacy, sent her heart into a wild frenzy. But who would conceal something like that? Her parents had kept their secrets, but could they really have hidden something this significant? "Why should I believe you?" Ruth demanded, her voice shaking more than she would have liked. "Because I've come to help you, Ruth," Sophie replied, less stern now. "I know your family's history better than you realize, and it's not what you think. If you don't act fast, you could lose everything, and I mean everything." "Mom, what does she mean?" Laura asked, her small hand squeezing Ruth's arm. James intervened, stepping forward. "We need to hear her out, Ruth. It might be the key to making sense of this mess." There was no going back. The shadows were closing in, but perhaps there was a flicker of light hidden somewhere. Sophie took a breath, her expression softening as she observed Ruth's children. "I promise I'm not your enemy. We're in this together, but time isn't on our side." Ruth faced the crowd, sensing their hushed anticipation. The laughter that had once filled the air now felt like it was almost mocking, a reminder of how easily joy could turn to fear. "Okay," Ruth finally said, her voice firm. "Let's talk. But first, I need to make sure my children are safe." As she turned to move back toward the picnic blanket, Ruth's mind raced. The past was like a puzzle with pieces scattered everywhere. Would she be ready to put them together? And then a thought struck her. What dark secrets might emerge if she did uncover the truth? Dread coiled tight in her stomach. Every answer they found could unearth layers of grief she'd buried deep within. But she couldn't back down now. Her family needed her, and the storm was coming, whether she was prepared or not. Steeling her resolve, she faced Sophie. "Let's do this. I'm ready." But could she withstand the revelations waiting in the shadows? What twists of fate were lying in wait? Ruth felt the weight of Sophie's words pressing on her chest as they moved away from the crowd and settled onto the picnic blanket. The warmth of the sun was a stark contrast to the chill creeping down her spine. She could sense her children's apprehension, their eyes darting back and forth between Sophie and her, searching for reassurance she didn't know if she could give. "Okay," she began, trying to infuse calm into her voice. "What is this trust you mentioned? What does it have to do with us?" Sophie leaned closer, her expression earnest. "Your father believed that wealth could be a burden. He created this trust to provide for you and your siblings, but kept it under wraps to avoid entitlement. There was a specific reason for that. People wouldn't handle the truth well, but you deserve to know, Ruth." The air felt electric with the weight of those words. "But why now? Why are you telling me this?" "Because few people know about it," Sophie replied, her intensity shimmering in the light. "But someone has caught wind of it, and they're trying to erase that trust, to erase your opportunity. They won't stop until they get what they want." Ruth glanced back at Laura and Samuel, their faces pale. She swallowed hard. "Who is this person? Why wouldn't my parents tell me?" Sophie hesitated, her eyes searching for the right way to phrase it. "Your parents thought they were protecting you. They thought the truth would hurt you. But keeping secrets can be just as damaging." Ruth felt the memories flood her mind, the late-night whispers between her parents, the guarded looks when they thought she was asleep. She could finally see them, their fear, their love, and their misguided sense of protection. "Not just a trust," Ruth whispered, looking at her children. "It's about family, legacy." "Yes," Sophie urged, "and you need to find it before it's too late. It's your right, and it may hold the key to so many unanswered questions about your past. Ruth's heart raced, each beat a reminder of the life she had created. Years of struggle, of making something out of nothing, all felt precariously close to unraveling. How do I find this trust? What if I'm too late? Sophie took a deep breath, her resolve and focus unwavering. I have contacts who can help us, but you need to trust me. I can't do this alone. What are you asking me to do? Ruth questioned, apprehension creeping back in. I'm asking you to dig deeper into your family's history. There's a will that was never presented. It's buried in old files, and I know where to look. But you'll have to be prepared for anything. You might unearth things that will shake you, Sophie warned. Ruth's pulse quickened. The storm clouds loomed closer. She had spent years hiding from the truth, but what was left to lose? Laura's small voice broke through her thoughts, softly asking, "Mom, are we still going to be okay?" Ruth looked into her daughter's worried eyes and felt a wave of determination. "We will be, Laura. Even if we uncover hard truths, we'll figure it out together." "Spoken like a true mother," James chimed in, looking proud yet concerned. "But do you really believe that?" Ruth nodded, even though the uncertainty gnawed her. "I have to believe that unveiling the truth will lead to something better, something stronger for us all." As she gazed into Sophie's eyes, Ruth felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this journey would lead more than just financial gain. It could illuminate a path to healing, connection, and revelation for her family's legacy. But as she took a deep breath, she couldn't shake the feeling that shadows were watching. Who was lurking in the periphery, waiting to strike? "Let's do this," Ruth finally announced, her shoulders squared with newfound strength. Yet an unsettling thought lingered. Was digging deep into the past the key, or would it unearth dangers beyond her comprehension? Ruth's hands trembled as she faced her children, the weight of the decision brewing within her. Each second felt like an eternity, charged with uncertainty, yet a fierce resolve ignited inside of her. "Tomorrow we start digging," she declared, surprising even herself with the firm tone in her voice. The kids exchanged glances, a mix of worry and hope flickering in their eyes. Sophie smiled, a glimmer of pride dancing in her gaze. "I'll arrange for us to meet in the morning. We can start with your parents' old home. There are papers in the attic that may lead us closer to the trust." The thought sent a chill crawling up Ruth's spine. The attic, it's so dusty, filled with memories, but maybe that's where the truth lies. As they packed up the picnic, the atmosphere shifted. Underneath the sunshine, the reality around them felt like a storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Laura clutched Ruth's hand, and Samuel pulled on her sleeve, wordlessly communicating their fears. Ruth knelt to their level, brushing her fingertips against their cheeks. "No matter what happens, we're in this together. I won't let anything take us down." "Okay," Laura whispered, though uncertainty clung heavily to that single word. Sophie stood, gathering the remnants of the blanket. "There's more at stake than just the trust, Ruth. If we're successful, it could change everything for your family. But be prepared. There are people out there willing to go to great lengths to keep this secret buried." The image of shadowy figures lurking behind closed doors sent a shiver through her. Ruth managed a nod, though it felt inadequate to convey her burgeoning fear. What had they awoken? Later, as the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the world in shades of orange and purple, Ruth processed everything. A mountain of potential loomed before her, but beneath it was an abyss filled with danger and uncertainty. She tucked her children into bed, brushing their hair back from their foreheads and kissing them goodnight, her heart swelling with love but tinged with anxiety. Once in her own room, she sat on the edge of her bed. Old, familiar ghosts whispered in her mind, memories of her parents' laughter echoing in the darkest corners. They had protected her, or so she thought. Were the secrets they kept really meant to shield her? Or were they their own weaknesses, hidden fears paraded as love? As she pulled out a notebook, she began jotting down everything she could remember about her parents. Moments, dreams, even things they'd hinted at. Each word felt like a step closer to something pressing and profound, yet the heavy weight of dread lingered. That night, sleep eluded her. She kept replaying Sophie's warning. What if they weren't ready for what lay ahead? What if they sparked a fire that wasn't easy to extinguish? With a deep, shaky breath, she promised herself to forge ahead no matter the cost. Morning arrived, shrouded in a thick fog of resolve. Ruth found herself standing in front of her childhood home. The air was thick with nostalgia, but today she wasn't just a child facing the echoes of her past. Today, she was a mother, a warrior, and a seeker of truth. With each step towards the door, she felt the pull of fate wrapping around her. Would uncovering her family's history be a blessing or a curse? She anxiously turned the doorknob as the air vibrated with possibility. And as the door creaked open, she caught a movement out of the corner of her eye. A figure in the distance, watching, waiting. Ruth's heart raced. Who were they? What danger lay ahead? The figure seemed to melt into the shadows, barely more than a whisper of movement. Ruth squinted, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst from her chest. Was her mind playing tricks on her, fueled by the sleepless night? She dared to take a cautious step forward, and in that moment the figure vanished into the thick foliage of the old oak tree in the yard. "Mom?" Samuel's voice pulled her back to the present. The confusion in his eyes mirrored her own, but there was something deeper, an instinct to protect. She bent down to his level, her voice a hush. "Stay close, okay?" His little hand grasped hers tightly. Laura, standing a little behind, looked uncertain. "Who was that?" "I don't know, honey," Ruth replied, trying to keep her own tone steady as she clenched Samuel's hand tighter. "But we need to focus." She took a deep breath and stepped over the threshold into the home that had once been bursting with life. The familiar scent of aged wood and dust welcomed her, wrapping around her like a faded memory. It was strangely comforting, yet filled with an unsettling weight, as if the walls held secrets she was just about to uncover. "Let's start in the attic," Sophie suggested, echoing the very words that had sent a chill down Ruth's spine the day before. They climbed the narrow staircase, the wood creaking underfoot, each step resonating like a heartbeat against the fragile silence. With each clang of their footsteps, Ruth's nerves flared up again. When they reached the attic door, a rush of anticipation swept through her. Memories flooded her mind, the laughter of her parents, the dusty boxes she used to play with, and the dreams she once had, but now felt distant and unreachable. As they pushed open the door, a cloud of dust erupted into the air, filling their lungs and making them cough. Ruth waved her hand in front of her face, trying to clear the air with her other hand still gripping Samuel's. "There are a lot of boxes," Laura remarked, her innocent voice echoing in the huge space. "Yes, and they're filled with stories," Ruth said, forcing optimism into her voice. She took a step further inside, and the moonlight filtering through the small window illuminated the boxes, old photographs and remnants of lives once lived. The children spread out, eager to explore. Sophie began pulling down boxes, rifling through papers, while Ruth settled on an old trunk tucked away in the corner. Its rusty lock begged to be opened, as if it knew the power it held inside. Ruth's hands trembled as she tried to pry it open. At last it gave way with a heavy thud, revealing a faded quilt, some of her mother's old dresses, and a small leather-bound journal. With shaking fingers, she picked up the journal, the leather warm against her skin. "This was my mother's," she whispered, absorbing the moment. Just then, from the shadows, footsteps. Unease wrapped around her heart as she turned quickly. A tall man with a jagged shadow approached, his face obscured. "I would put that down if I were you," he said, his voice unsettlingly smooth but laced with tension. Ruth's heart sank. This was the danger Sophie had warned her about. "Who are you?" Ruth demanded, trying to sound braver than she felt. "Someone who knows all about what you're looking for, and who would rather it stay buried." Panic surged through her as realization washed over Ruth. Their quest for truth might have just awakened something they weren't ready to face. And with that, the stakes escalated rapidly. Would she risk everything to uncover her family's secrets, or would she turn back for the sake of her children's safety? The man stepped closer, eyes piercing through the dim light. "You have no idea what kind of trouble you've stirred." Ruth's breath hitched as the tall man loomed closer, his shadow stretching ominously across the attic floor. She held the journal tightly against her chest, fingers trembling against the soft leather. In that moment, it was the only thing that felt real. A tether to her past, a possible key to understanding everything she had lost. "Why don't you step back?" Ruth's voice wavered, but held a fierce edge. As she felt Samuel tugging against her leg, his small frame frozen with fear. "Waving an old book around won't get you anything but trouble," he said, an unsettling calmness in his tone. "You should know better than to dig into things that were meant to stay hidden." She refused to let his words sink in. "Who are you? What do you want?" "Like I said, I'm someone whose interests overlap with yours. Your family's history is problematic. The past isn't what it seems." Ruth's chest tightened at his implication. She had come here seeking truth, even if she didn't fully understand what it might lead to. "My family has a right to their history, and so do I," she snapped, testing both his resolve and her own. "But the history you seek could tear apart what little you have left, especially for those two." He motioned with his head toward Samuel and Laura, who stood shivering in the narrow shadows, the uncertainty etched on their faces palpable. Ruth's heart clenched. The warmth of her past turned icy under his words. "You're threatening my children? What kind of monster are you?" He took another step forward, continuing his careful advance. "No monster, just a guardian, if you will, a protector of what remains." As if sensing the danger, Sophie took a bold step forward, shoving a box aside to position herself between Ruth and the stranger. "You can't just scare us away," she shouted, her voice higher than usual. "You have no right." Ruth stared at her daughter, pride swelling in her heart, mixed with fear. She knew they had to stand together, or this looming figure, with his secrets and unnerving calm, would overpower them. "Enough," he hissed, his patience fraying. "You've entered a realm you know nothing of. Lay down that journal and go. I'll let you leave, but only if you value your lives." For a split second, Ruth's instincts screamed to do as he said, to protect her children at any cost. But as she glanced down at the journal, curiosity, a fierce, almost desperate need for answers, snared her heart. What could be inside? Would it change everything? "What's in there?" she demanded, urgency rising in her voice. "What do you know about my mother?" The man paused at this, eyes narrowing. "Your mother was a part of something she couldn't control, and that's why she kept secrets from you. Secrets that have cost lives." Sophie gasped, glancing nervously at her siblings. Ruth felt a rush of adrenaline, determination pushing her forward. "Then tell me," she said defiantly, holding the journal high. "If this is dangerous, I need to know. We all deserve the truth." He blinked, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Then he began to smile, though it wasn't reassuring. "Very well," he said slowly, his voice turning low and dangerous. "If you want the truth, you'll have to face the consequences. The question is, Can you handle it? Ruth gulped, staring into his calculating eyes. What had she just stepped into? Behind her, Laura whimpered softly, and Samuel took a small step back, clutching his mother's leg. In that instant, Ruth realized their journey had exposed them to a darkness she hadn't anticipated. And now, with every heartbeat, she faced a choice. Would she pursue the truth, knowing the shadows could swallow them whole? Outside, the wind howled, a match for the uncertainty swirling within. This was just the beginning, and the true battle for her family's secrets had only started to unfold. As she stood there, fear and resolve intertwining in her gut, she knew there was no turning back. There was only one thing left to do. "Then let's uncover it," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "But I won't be alone." The man chuckled softly, his eyes glittering with something sinister. "Very well, but remember, with knowledge comes danger. Are you ready to embrace it?" Ruth took a deep breath, the weight of the journal heavy in her hands. She glanced at her children, their eyes wide with dread, but also with unwavering hope. With that, she stepped forward. The man's smile widened, and Ruth felt the chilling edge of fate sharpening all around her, leaving her to wonder just how deep this rabbit hole would go. And in that moment, she realized she had awakened something that could change the very fabric of their lives forever. Would she be fortified or shattered in the face of the truth ahead? Ruth clenched the journal tighter, the leather cool against her palms, her heart racing with every breath. The man's gaze pierced her, as if searching for cracks in her resolve. She felt Samuel press against her leg, a mixture of fear and curiosity swirling within him. Laura and Sophie stood by, the silence in the attic thick with unspoken fears. "Very well, let's begin," the man said, his voice low. "But understand, uncovering the past will test not just your strength, but your very will to survive." Ruth shot him a defiant look. "I won't back down. What did my mother get involved in?" He stepped into the faint light, his presence both magnetic and menacing. "Your mother was a part of a world that existed parallel to ours, one filled with shadows, secrets, and consequences." Ruth felt a chill creep down her spine. "What kind of world?" "A dangerous one," he replied, lowering his voice as if it could shield the children from the truth. "It pulls you in, like a dark vortex, and once you're in, there's no way out. This journal contains pieces of her story, the ones she tried to bury." He pointed ominously at the journal, as if it held not just words, but the weight of lives. Sophie's voice cut through the tension. "But why? Why would she hide it from us?" "Because she loved you," the man said softly, his tone shifting momentarily to one of empathy. "She believed ignorance would protect you. But what she didn't realize is that secrets have a way of seeping through the cracks." Ruth felt her heart plummet. Her mother, the one person she had trusted, had shielded her from the very truth that could explain their fractured family and the loss she had carried for years. What exactly is at stake here? "Your mother crossed boundaries," he said, stepping closer, his intensity almost overwhelming. "She made enemies. Some of those enemies are still very much alive, and they will not rest until they track down remnants of her past." The atmosphere in the attic shifted, the air growing heavier, filled with an oppressive danger. The wind outside whipped through the trees, rattling the windows as if echoing the turmoil brewing inside her. Ruth could see the fear in her children's faces, their innocence hanging by a thread. "I won't let anyone hurt my kids," she declared fiercely, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. "And I want to know the truth, no matter what it costs." "Then brace yourself," he warned, as a crooked smile spread across his face. "The truth, once uncovered, doesn't come wrapped in fairy tales. It will demand sacrifices." "Sacrifices?" Ruth recoiled slightly, understanding the gravity of those words. "You mean to tell me I might lose something, someone, in this pursuit?" The man nodded, his smirk fading into something cooler, more serious. "I'm afraid that's the price of knowledge. Are you prepared to pay it?" Ruth inhaled sharply, glancing at her children. They were terrified, and she felt torn between their safety and her quest for truth. The thought of losing them haunted her like a dark cloud. Would she really
be able to go through with this if it meant endangering their lives? Yet, deep within, a poignant realization settled. They had to face this together, for their family, for her mother, for the truth. "We can face whatever comes next together," Ruth said, her voice steadier than she felt. "But you will not keep us in the dark." "Then it starts here, and it starts now," he said, his demeanor shifting into something purposeful. "Open the journal." With trembling hands, Ruth turned to the first page. The faint smell of aged paper wafted up, and the words seemed to hum with a life of their own. The letters danced before her eyes as she began to read, revelation after revelation flooding through her mind. But as the first words sank in, a sense of dread filled her. What had her mother done? What consequences awaited them? Suddenly, the attic door creaked, and the faint sound of footsteps echoed down the hall. In that instant, Ruth knew they were not alone anymore. A cold shiver ran down her spine. "Who's that?" Laura whispered, her voice shaking. And in the depths of that moment, as the reality of her decision loomed heavily over them, Ruth's heart sank. Could their quest for truth have drawn unwanted eyes back into their lives? The shadows danced, and the unknown closed in around them, leaving Ruth to wonder, not just about her mother's choices, but the choices she herself was about to face. Ruth's heart raced as footsteps echoed closer, panic coursing through her veins. She could feel her children's anxiety radiating. "Stay back," she whispered to Samuel and Laura, shielding them behind her. The dark figure paused just outside the attic door, a silhouette against the dim light. "Who are you?" Ruth's voice trembled but wore a facade of defiance. A low chuckle emerged from the shadows, sending shivers down her spine. "Let's not act like you're naive, Ruth. I know what you're after," the stranger replied, stepping into the light. It was a familiar face, one that had haunted her childhood memories. "Evelyn?" Ruth gasped, recognition crashing over her like a wave. Evelyn, an old friend of Ruth's parents, had once been someone she trusted deeply. A bitterness crawled through her heart. "What are you doing here?" "Just came to check in, darling," Evelyn said, her smile reflecting nothing but malice. "I've always kept an eye on you. You've stirred up quite the hornet's nest, haven't you? Like digging up graves, so many skeletons." Ruth felt a chill as the weight of her past loomed overhead. "I won't let you intimidate me." "No? Then allow me to enlighten you," Evelyn retorted, stepping even closer, the air thickening with tension. "You're uncovering secrets that should stay buried. Your mother thought her lies would protect you, but the truth is far more dangerous." Ruth glanced at Sophie, who stood uncertainly by her side. Could this be the threat they had been warned about? "What do you know about—" "My mother's past?" Ruth demanded, instinctively gripping her children against her as if to shield them from the storm brewing. Evelyn let out a dry laugh, her gaze piercing through Ruth. "Her secrets aren't just hers. You think you've inherited some treasure? No, Ruth, you've inherited a war." "A war? Ruth whispered, doubt creeping in. Yes, your mother's decisions had consequences. The truth behind the trust will expose everything, the choices she made, the life she'd chosen to hide from you. You don't want to pursue this, believe me. No, Ruth said, rising resolve pulsating through her veins. This is my family. I deserve to know. We deserve to know. As Ruth lifted the journal, Evelyn's expression darkened. If you pursue this, I won't just stand by. I'll ensure that you and your precious children pay the price. I'm not scared of you, Ruth shot back, feeling a flicker of strength ignite within her. Brave words, Evelyn said, her voice morphing into an echo of menace. But the choice you're about to make will lead you into darkness you cannot imagine. Family ties? They can strangle just as easily as they can bind. You think you can protect them? At that moment, Ruth's heart sank deeper, but she knew fear could not be her compass. My family is worth fighting for, she murmured, glancing back at Laura and Samuel. Evelyn's eyes sparked with a dangerous glint. So be it. Just remember, I offered you a way out. Should you go down this path, you should prepare and lose what you love most. I'll be watching, Ruth. And with that, she turned sharply and disappeared into the shadows, leaving Ruth to grapple with the weight of her words. Mom, what just happened? Laura asked softly, fear barely contained in her voice. I think we need to focus on what's inside this journal, Ruth said, her voice steadying as she hugged them tightly. No matter what Evelyn says, we can't turn back. If there's a truth to uncover, it's time we face it together. Sophie nodded, joining them, her resolve palpable. Together, they turned to the journal that crackled with potential and danger, promising answers and consequences ahead. The pages felt like a gateway, each crease a story begging to be unearthed. As Ruth opened to the first page, the words spilled out like an intimate confession. Dear Ruth, it began, her mother's familiar script flowing gracefully across the paper. Each word felt like a lifeline from the past, drawing her deeper into a story lined with shadows. Time slipped away as they read, absorbing the secrets her mother had woven through her life. Each revelation chipped away at the fortress of silence, revealing pain, love, and heartache. Mom, look at this, Laura exclaimed, pointing to a passage about a conflict, a heavy burden her mother had carried, knowing it could endanger the family. But with each discovery, the shadows outside beckoned closer. The storm was still brewing, lurking just beyond the light they had found. Found in each other. Ruth felt the tension slope deeper into something both frightful and liberating. What do we do now? Samuel's voice trembled slightly. Ruth squeezed his little hand. Now we fight for our family, for the truth, and for a future where secrets don't tear us apart anymore. The members of her family gathered around her, and for the first time they felt like a cohesive unit, ready to face whatever storm awaited them. They could sense that the journey ahead wouldn't just be filled with answers, but also struggles. We can't allow the darkness to win, Sophie spoke, her eyes shining with determination. We have each other. As they huddled closer, Ruth felt a flicker of hope, a belief that they could uncover their family's past and create their future. It wouldn't be easy, and the dangers might threaten to pull them under, but together they could face anything that came their way. Let's finish this, Ruth said firmly, her voice carrying resonance mixed with trepidation and strength. She turned the page, steeling herself for the truth that lay ahead. And unbeknownst to them, with every flick of the page, a greater confrontation loomed, reconfiguring their lives in unimaginable ways. But they were ready, prepared to forge ahead together, even if the shadows were no longer a distant echo.
As the last shard of sunlight faded from the attic window, Ruth could hear the storm brewing outside, but she met it boldly, knowing that she was not alone. They would face whatever followed, fueled by love, strength, and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth, no matter the cost. Would they be able to stand their ground, or would the past tighten its grip? Only time would tell. The storm was coming, but Ruth was ready. No more shadows, only the light of truth ahead. And now it was time to rise together and reclaim their story. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm. I want to hear your reactions and feelings about this ending. Comment below. And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Ruth was ready. No more shadows, only the light of truth ahead. And now it was time to rise together and reclaim their story. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm. I want to hear your reactions and feelings about this ending. Comment below. And please share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.